So our first step is to start with the HTML part of the project, which is age calculator. So I have already created the 3 files. This is index.html, style.css and script.js. So all of these files are empty except the index.html. I have already written the boilerplate code, and also I have named my project age calculator, and I have launched this application with the Go Live plugin inside my Chrome browser. So you can see the age calculator heading is appear at the application tab. So the next thing, I have already linked my CSS and the JavaScript file. So inside of this, first we need to add a one container, because if I show you the final application, everything is actually wrapped inside the container, and then we are going to place this h1 element, then this actually form element, then we need to provide this button, and then this list is going to generate dynamically. But for the CSS purpose, we are going to add a first CSS part, then we are going to comment out just like we have did in the previous projects as well. So the first thing is we need to add the container, which is a division. So coming back to the Visual Studio Code, and first we need to add here a container. So this is our container, and inside of that, first we need to add the h1 element. So our h1 element is going to just display the heading, so it is age calculator, and after that we need to add the input type. So this is actually a form, so here we need to use the form tag, and inside the action, first I am going to delete the action because it is not going to use any database. So that is when the action is not required. So we need to specify the ID. So ID is going to age calculator. And inside of that we need to add the form group. So I am going to type here form hyphen group. And coming back to the front of this form group, I need to also specify the dot. And then I am going to press the tab key. So it is going to give me a division. Actually the class name is outside of this particular division, so I need to cut this name and then paste it inside the double quotes, and then I'm going to press the enter key and then just removing the blank spaces. And inside of this form group, it is going to have a label. So this label is actually a static, it is not going to update. So if I show you, this is actually going to display the enter your birth date. So this is a label, and then inside of this 4 we need to add the birth date, and then we need to add the message which I have already copied, and after that we need to add the input type. So input, then the type is going to be text, and then we need to add the ID to birth date. So here I have not used the input type as date of birth, so we have used a text. So we need to check the condition also inside the JavaScript for this particular type also. So once we are start with the JavaScript part, then I'm going to recall this concept of the type again. So coming back to the ID, I need to complete the ID name, which is birth date, and after that we need to add the placeholder text. So placeholder, we want to display the date inside this Indian format, which is dd mm and yy, which is like a date and then the month name, and then after that we need to apply the year. So after this we need to add another attribute here, which is required. So without this we are not going to perform any other operation. Okay, so that is for the form group part of the project, and then we need to just remove this extra spacing, and then we need to create another form group. So this is going to be a form group, so I'm going to copy this division from here. So this form group, and also the closing tag is appeared by the Visual Studio. Then inside of that we need to add the button. So inside of this button we need to specify the type to submit. Then after that, inside of this we need to provide the text that will be visible to the button, calculate age. So you can see now, once I control save it, then you can see these elements is now appear inside our browser screen. Then our next step is for displaying the result, that is for this one. We need to add the result container, and also we need to add the result as well. So this is actually a result container in which all these elements will be placed, and then there is another division which is a result that will be used to hold this particular data. So coming back to the Visual Studio Code again, so after the end of the form, here we need to add the class name, which is our result container. So I'm going to specify the dot as a result container, and then pressing the tab key, and instead of that I need to specify the another class which is result, because this is actually going to hold the data. And then we also need to specify the IDs inside of it, because the ID will be fetched inside the JavaScript. So here we need to add the result container, and after that we need to also specify the ID to this result division also. So the ID to this one is going to be result, and after that we need to add up divisions. We are going to comment it out once we complete the code. So this will be like our div, and inside of that I need to add the class which is a result item. So we need to press the enter key, result, then I'm going to specify the hyphen, then item. This is a result item. Inside of that we need to display the elements inside the h3 heading. The h3 heading is like just we want to display the weeks, and then after that we need to add the paragraph element. This will be used to like age in weeks. So this is actually a variable value that we are going to display inside the paragraph element. Okay, so that marks the completion of the code. If I control save it, then you will see the week passed and age in weeks will be displayed inside the browser. So that marks the completion of the code for the HTML. So our next step is to start with the CSS code of the age calculator application.